of Verona and make it as shopping friendly as possible. As a town council member, how would you help this cause? You may begin.
Okay, yeah, our town is changing. We have, in the last 4 years, we have a number of new fine restaurants in town. It's going to continue. There's another one I know on the way. We have to support these businesses. We do not have the parking infrastructure to support these businesses. We have to figure that out. We want Bloomfield to be a place where when families come in, they want to go. They want to go to dinner. Residents, people who are outside of town, we want these businesses to feel confident that when they set up shop in Verona, the infrastructure is there to support them, to sustain that business. And I think parking is a real concern. The beautification of Bloomfield only increases our home values. An abandoned factory or a rusty fence when you first drive into our town does not help anybody. We have to do things about that, and we're doing it. And we have more restaurants coming in and businesses, and we can look into incentive programs as well. But the main issue is parking. We need to do something about parking. The parking's not adequate. Parking on Bloomfield is very difficult, and we have one tiny lot and one not even medium-sized lot. And so I know it's been talked about at the council meetings, and there's things being proposed and looked into, but that's the biggest concern I have for the businesses in town. Thank you.
You may begin.
Thank you. Since Chris brought up the parking issue, I'm going to give some props to Mr. McAvoy here, because he's been very concerned with it, and he'll elaborate on it himself, but I think he's come up with some creative suggestions, and we've asked the town manager to look into it, particularly in the way of sharing parking with some of our religious houses of worship. So it is a big problem. The other thing that I think we have to do, and I think it's the right time to do it, we're due to review our master plan. That's the guidepost that we develop every, I think it's 8 to 10 years, to say it's a visionary plan. Where do we want the town to go? And our ordinances fall from the master plan. We have some very antiquated, outdated ordinances on the books in Verona. And I would like to direct Mr. Cavallo, and we've had chats about this, to sit down with representatives of the business community, look at and say to them, what ordinances are on the books? What do you think is an impediment to making a business in Verona grow and prosper? Because we get into that kind of a situation. I've heard that from talking to a couple of the business owners. You don't want to, it's a balancing act. You don't want to overly regulate them, okay, because it frustrates people coming in. I think we have to look at some of the ordinances and the policies in the surrounding towns to see if they're more business friendly. Is Caldwell stealing some businesses from us because it's easier, I don't know, to get permits or to start a business in Caldwell? That's the kind of thing I think we need to do to be creative. Solving the parking issue is obviously a big one. But let's look at the codes and let's see what's going on. We do have a lot of empty storefronts that does concern me, and I think that would be the way to go. Let's get the business community on board. Let's meet with them and see what they have to say. Thank you.
You can begin.
I've seen some of the ordinances. They do seem to be conflicting with each other. I recently went into a restaurant that just recently opened in Verona, and I was asking the business owner, so how did you find moving into Verona? Were you welcome? Did you know what to do? And she struggled a little bit to get up and running. There didn't seem to be a place for her to go. She tried to contact the Chamber of Commerce, which was challenging in and of itself. So she decided to go to the address, and the building was knocked down. So she was struggling to find out what the best way was to partner with the Township of Verona. And which leads me to, why do we not have a portal for our business owners? When they move, okay, that's great, they want to open a business, that's great. But what do they do? Where do they go? What do they need to do as far as building inspections and things of the sort? There was no information for her to actually pull from so she could prepare and plan for that grand opening. It's true, that some businesses do have signs and lighting and, challenges with what they can put in their window. I'd like to ask some of the store owners that have been here for a while, there's a few on Bloomfield Avenue. What sustains you? And over the years, what challenges have you had that you've been able to overcome? Parking is a nightmare. Just trying to get into the lot behind Terry's Drugs, it's a challenge. We need to partner better with our store owners, our restaurants, anyone who's providing a service. They need to advertise.
I'm sorry, your time is
to
up.
pull into.
Thank you. Oh, you may begin.
Thank you. So downtown is important. It's at the center of our town. There's some exciting activity that's been going on recently with the restaurants that have moved in. It's a great opportunity to build on that momentum. The reality is that I'm hearing from folks that it's too expensive in neighboring towns to open up their businesses, so they're looking at less expensive alternatives, and why not make that Verona? But in doing so, we need to make the process more efficient as well. And certainly we need to consult with business owners and make sure we're removing meaningless obstacles to get businesses open and running. We mentioned the ordinances, and as an attorney, and you're looking at the ordinances and reviewing them, you can see that there are quite a few issues there. We talk a lot about, too, the fact that the ordinances are written in such a way that they're unenforceable. So not only do we have outdated ordinances, we have ordinances that just are meaningless. And that's a problem. That's a problem from a management perspective, and we need to address that. And certainly, with the skill set that I have, I plan to do that. Also with regard to a master plan and a full vision and direction of the community in downtown in particular, that's important that we have fresh ideas and fresh vision approaching that. And the reality is that we have a lot of young families moving into town that would have a voice to add to that. And certainly we should make sure that that process welcomes the community and what we want as a community. And downtown certainly is the first thing that you see, and it should make a strong impression. Right now, I think the impression it's struggling, and we need to spend some more energy and time on resolving the issues. But first is asking the tough questions. What are the obstacles? What is in the way of improving downtown? And we can resolve them with some common sense approaches. But first, we really have to roll up our sleeves and get into the work. And also supporting the existing businesses, supporting a Chamber of Commerce, supporting the group to make sure that they have what they need and that the town is cooperating with them as well. Thank you.
You may begin.
Thank you. As councilman, I plan to work with the business community, the zoning board, town manager's office to establish Verona as a downtown and pedestrian-friendly business district. That's really one of the main points in my campaign. Really what I look at considering is our local businesses are very important to our town. They're the ones that support our BBSL teams. They contribute generously to our school and youth programs, and we need to make it much easier for them to stay in town and be profitable as well. We've all talked about empty storefronts. That's not good for Verona, and obviously it's not good for our tax base either when you see towns, vacancies arise within our downtown district. A couple other things come to mind. So as Mayor Ryan had indicated, recently I was in to see a local business owner, and this business owner was telling me about how the town was giving him a hard time because he had lights in the window and someone complained. I think we have to really look at the ordinances to determine what's really important, the size of the sign, little lights in the window, or if there's an opportunity where we can work better with these business owners instead of having an adversarial relationship so that they can be profitable and thus stay in town. Parking is obviously a concern as well. But however, many of us have gone to dinner in Montclair, and parking isn't always real close by either. So I think we have to consider that Verona does have parking issues, and sometimes it's dangerous getting out of your car on Bloomfield Avenue. But we have to look at parking as a way to maybe make it easier to get in and out of our lots rather than potentially spending millions of dollars on a new lot, because Verona can be a destination. We're starting to see that with some of the beautiful new restaurants coming to town, and we have to just continue to support our businesses to make that happen.
You may begin.
As we all said, our town center and our extended town center, we have a lot of vacancies. A lot less now than we had a couple of years ago, but we have a lot of vacancies. I think our main problem is we have a disconnect. We have a disconnect between our Chamber of Commerce. I talked to a business owner who's been in town for a year, walking the other day, didn't even know we had a Chamber of Commerce. But I was shocked. I do think one thing that we should do, and I don't want to put down anybody, but I've been to council meetings for the last 5 years, and I have yet to see really anybody from the chamber come before the council with any questions. No, the president, no one. I think what we need to do, and I would be willing to do this when I'm on the council, we need a liaison to the Chamber of Commerce. Someone that can go and talk to them, come back, at least it's on TV, people can hear what's going on, what new businesses are coming into town. Do it on every other week when you're at a council meeting. Report who's there. We have to improve that relationship. We also have a problem. Everybody talks about the zoning ordinance. We're doing a recodification of the road zoning ordinance. I'm very familiar and very knowledgeable when it comes to that. It's 250 pages long. What we really need to do is cut and paste the parts of the ordinance that pertain to businesses. What size sign can you put on the outside? What lights? What lettering you can put on a window, and put it on a PDF on our website. Anybody moving into town, go on a website, click. I know I've had tenants myself. They buy a sign, it's too big. I mean, that's a lot of money out of pocket. There's a lot of other things we got to do. One other thing is we got to make it easier for them to move in. We have a problem when a business moves in and they're a different business than what was there. They have to go to the zoning ordinance. Even if they're an approved business in the town center, they have to go for a change of use variance. We have to change that. If you're an approved business that can come into town,
I'm sorry, your time
you
is
can
up.
go right in.